Hi guys, I'm back in front of my tree like always. Now we have this beautiful big gift here from my mom, from my brother and I. But today we are going to be talking about books that were turned into movies or shows and my opinions on them. So I haven't read a lot of books that were turned into movies, or sometimes I've honestly watched the movies beforehand not knowing they were books. So today we're just going to talk about the ones where I've read the books as well. So first I'm going to start with The Glass Castle by Jeanette Walls. This book I read in high school and fell in love with it. It is one of my all-time favorite books. It is a memoir by Jeanette Walls herself, and it just tells her crazy life. When she was growing up, her family was pretty poor and moved around, and she had a unique childhood. So it started at her earliest memory to where she is now. Well, not exactly now, but to where she was when she published the book. And it is phenomenal. I love that book so much. If you get anything out of this video, read that book. Now the movie. I was really excited when I saw there was a movie for it coming out, because I think I read it just before the movie came out, and I saw that Sadie Sink played I don't think she played the actual character. I think she played the character's older sister. Now, I was not happy with the movie. It's just so hard to show a person's whole life in a short film like that. And I just didn't love it. I felt like it didn't show exactly what I wanted, and it switched up some things a little bit that I was kind of confused about too. So I don't recommend the movie. That's my opinion. Now we're going into Red, White, and Royal Blue. This movie actually came out a couple months ago. I think it came out in the summer. And I read this book a couple years ago when I first started getting back into books, and I absolutely adored this book. It is a so two males, the president's son and the Prince of England, and they don't really like each other, but then something happens and they have to pretend that they like each other and pretend that they're friends for the media. So then it's them like starting to actually get to know each other, and it was so good. It was so good. I think it's actually the only book I've read. I haven't read that many, but it's so good. I loved it. Now the movie, I really liked the actors in it. I was really excited for them, and I did like the movie. I would recommend it, especially if you're not a book person. I would recommend the movie. However, they do take out some characters and change some stuff around that I didn't appreciate, but it was still good, and I feel like it hit the main points that really mattered. So there is that. It's just always when you read a book, there's a little more details and stuff that can't make it into the movie. So yeah. Then we have My Sister's Keeper. To be honest, I watched this movie a long time ago. I think I watched it right after I read the book, which was in high school. It's one of my first Jodi Picoult books I read that made me love her to death. I love her so much. And it's an amazing book. It's about a girl whose sister is ill and she needs some organ, and her younger sister wants to give it to her, so she's trying to get medically emancipated from her sister. There's way more to it. It's really good. I really recommend it. The twist at the end had my jaw on the floor. It's crazy, and especially if you want to get into Jodi Picoult, that's one of her most popular, and I would recommend it for one of the first ones. Now, I don't remember the movie that much. I remember thinking it was okay, but still I preferred the book better, just because it's also really hard for me because I have a picture of what I believe they look like in my head, and then when they cast them, it usually doesn't fit exactly how I want. But I do remember I didn't mind it, and I loved that story. So even, again, if you're not a book person, that story is amazing. Now, Where the Crawdads Sing. This is another one that came out recently. I read the book and I liked it. This one is actually one of the ones I would say I would skip the book and and watch the movie. Just because the book is kind of slow at some parts, and they describe the marsh in such detail. And I think it's just way better when they can just show it on the screen of how beautiful it is and how much, like, what a marsh actually is. Because there's this whole thing in the book about marshes and stuff like that. Anyway, so I liked it. I thought the cast was amazing. I thought it was beautifully done. Again, I don't know. I really liked the book when I read it, but when I look back at it, I don't know if it's my favorite anymore. But my brother did watch the movie and he didn't read the book and he really enjoyed the movie. And I did feel like it stuck to the plot pretty well. And it stuck to things pretty well. Like, obviously it can't show everything. The relationships didn't show them perfectly, but it was still good. Now, going into shows, I have The Summer I Turned Pretty. Everyone knows this one. I've read all the books and then I watched the show, the 2 seasons they have out. The books, I didn't like. The first one I thought was okay. The other 2 I didn't love them at all. I didn't like Belly at all, which is the main character. If you don't know what this is about... Oh, I totally forgot to tell you what Where the Crawdads Sing is about. That's about a girl who lives and grows up on a marsh with a very poor family. And then later on, it has like 2 timelines from when she's an adult and then while she's growing up later on, she's on trial because people think she killed someone. So that's that. It's a little bit of like a mystery, but it does have romance in it. It's a literary fiction. Okay, so The Summer I Turned Pretty. This is about a girl who goes to a small little beach town. She goes to it every year. It's her mom's best friend, and they're 2 kids. And she goes there. She's always had a crush on this one guy, Conrad, and now there's also Jeremiah, who's been like her best friend growing up. And then, of course, she turned pretty this summer, so then they both have a crush on her, and it's like that whole story. It icks me out when brothers, I still read it and watch it. Like, why is everyone so obsessed with it? Like, the brother thing. Because even with Vampire Diaries, it was a brother thing as well. I didn't really realize that until after I've looked back at it, and I'm like, okay, that's kind of weird. Not my favorite, but I do like the show. I think the show is done really well, very close to the books. However, I feel like it is more adult-ish. It's not adult, but the books are YA and they feel very young. Belly acts like a 2-year-old, in my opinion, and I feel like in the movie or in the show she's a little better than that. So I would recommend it. That is on Amazon Prime if you have it. Then we have Normal People. To be honest, I did not finish this show, and I read Normal People a long time ago. This is about 2 individuals who meet in high school, and it's kind of like right person, wrong time. I wouldn't say that for sure, but it's kind of like that, where like one has a girlfriend at one point and the other's like, oh my gosh, I like them, and then they break up, but then this one has a guy boyfriend, you know. Anyway, so it's kind of like that. It's very realistic. It's not romancy. Like, if you want a happy ending, don't read that book. It's not that. I feel like people either absolutely love this book or hate it. I liked it, but looking back at it, it's not really my cup of tea, but I did read it very fast. Now, I watched the show because I heard amazing things about it, and I was like, I'll give it a chance. The casting was amazing. The casting, the main girl for Normal People and then the main girl for Where the Crawdads Sing is the same person, just so you know. Casting was really good. I thought both main actors were amazing. They played the characters so well. Honestly, since they put it into a show, they were able to hit like all the main points. Sorry, I have the hiccups. And did really well with it. So I would recommend it because that show, they did really good. I feel like that's the one that is closest to the book versus the show. I mean, I watched and read it pretty far apart, so I can't be positive, but I'm pretty sure they were very similar. And if you liked the book, you should watch the show. Now we're going into, there's this big, dystopian young adult genre where a lot of them got turned into movies. So there's the Hunger Games, obviously. I did not read the books. I want to go back and read them because I liked the movies, and now that another one came out, there's a big hype around it again. So I really do want to read them. So there was that one that was a big one. And then there is Divergent. I read the first book of Divergent. I don't think I continued. And then I read 4, where it's 4's perspective of Divergent. I love that movie. That's one of my comfort movies. I love it so much. And I feel like the casting was amazing. And I feel like that was also really similar to the book. There was some stuff in the book that was cut out of the movie. However, like, I feel like I understood why it was or changed a little bit. And I think I understand it would be hard with that kind of stuff, with dystopian stuff. I feel like it is hard to like get it exactly how it is because it does have that like different aspect to it. I really like that. I recommend both of those, the book and the movie. That book just has such a special place in my heart, as well as Theo James. I love Theo James so much. So much. Now, some other ones that aren't as well known. I read the whole Fifth Wave series. I did not like the movie. I was really excited for it, and I felt like the movie does not hit like the book does at all. Fifth Wave, if you don't know what that's about, after the first wave, only darkness remains. After the second, only the lucky escape. And after the third, only the unlucky survive. After the fourth wave, only one rule applies: trust no one. Now it's the dawn of the fifth wave, and on a lonely stretch of the highway, Cassie runs from them. The beings who only look human, who roam the countryside, killing anyone they see, who have shattered Earth's last survivors, to stay alone and stay alive. Cassie believes until she meets Evan Walker. Mysterious Evan Walker may be Cassie's only hope for rescuing her brother, or even saving herself, but Cassie must choose between trust and despair, between defiance and surrender, between life and death, to give up or to get up. So I loved the books. I ate them up. I loved them. Evan and Cassie, loved them so much. So it has this, the dystopian, like, different. You only get to see it. You don't get to see the first 4 waves, but you hear about them in the book. Like, she talks about them and stuff, and it's really good. I did not like the movie, though. I felt like they left out a ton. They didn't do it justice, in my opinion. And I think you know that because that one's not as big as a movie as like Divergent and Hunger Games, because it wasn't done as well, I feel like. And then another one I read that I absolutely loved the books, I feel the same way, and then I didn't love the movie that much, is The Darkest Minds. When Ruby woke up on her 10th birthday, something about her had changed. Something alarming enough to make her parents lock her in the garage and call the police. Something that gets her sent to Thurmond, a brutal government rehabilitation camp. She might have survived the mysterious disease that's killed most of Americans' children, but she and the others have emerged with something far worse: frightening abilities they can't control. Now 16, Ruby is one of the dangerous ones. When the truth comes out, Ruby barely escapes Thurmond with her life. Now she's on the run, desperate to find the only safe haven left for kids like her, East River. She joins a group of kids who escaped their own camp. Liam, their brave leader, is falling hard for Ruby, but no matter how she aches for him, Ruby can't risk getting close, not after what happened to her parents. When they arrive at East River, nothing is as it seems, least of all the mysterious leader. But there is other forces at work, people who will stop at nothing to use Ruby in their fight against the government. Ruby will be faced with terrible choice, one that may leave giving up her only chance at a life worth living. I think I only read 2. I didn't read the whole series. I wanted to read the whole series, but then like my sister was giving me the books and then never gave me the 3rd one. So I'm planning on eventually actually rereading that because I really liked it. But again, I felt like the movie didn't do it justice. I feel like it's hard now. It's easier. I feel like they're doing better. But I feel like when the movie came out, the powers were just hard to show. And I just, reading about like some like the YA relationships and dystopian is just so much better than seeing it on screen sometimes. You can just feel it. So those are the books to movies I wanted to talk about. If you have any more or you think I should read some books that were turned into movies, tell me down below and I would love to. See you tomorrow.